Welcome! Today, we're diving into the concept of a cure or quit notice. This term often appears in the context of rental agreements and leases, and it's important for both landlords and tenants to understand what it means. Essentially, a cure or quit notice is a formal warning issued by a landlord when a tenant has violated a term of the lease. The notice gives the tenant a specific period to correct or cure the violation. If the tenant fails to do so, they must quit, meaning vacate the property. Let's break down how this process works and why it's significant in rental relationships. The main purpose of a cure or quit notice is to formally alert the tenant about a lease violation and provide an opportunity to fix the issue. This process helps maintain a fair and transparent relationship between landlords and tenants. By issuing this notice, landlords give tenants a chance to resolve problems such as unpaid rent, unauthorized pets, or other breaches before taking further legal action. It also serves as a documented step in the eviction process, ensuring that both parties are aware of their rights and responsibilities. Cure or quit notices are typically issued for specific types of lease violations. Some of the most common reasons include failure to pay rent on time, keeping unauthorized pets, causing property damage, or violating noise policies. Each of these breaches can disrupt the living environment or the landlord's ability to manage the property effectively. By identifying the exact violation in the notice, landlords ensure that tenants are fully aware of what needs to be corrected. The cure or quit notice is grounded in landlord-tenant law, which varies by jurisdiction. Most regions require landlords to provide written notice before beginning eviction proceedings. This legal requirement ensures tenants have a fair chance to address any issues. The notice must clearly state the violation, the time frame for curing it, and the consequences of failing to comply. This process protects tenants from sudden eviction and gives landlords a structured way to handle lease breaches. A cure or quit notice typically follows a standard format. It includes the tenant's name and address, a description of the lease violation, the time frame allowed for curing the issue, and the consequences of failing to comply. The notice should be clear, concise, and delivered according to local legal requirements, such as by mail or personal delivery. This ensures that the tenant receives the information and understands what is expected. The time frame given to cure a violation can vary depending on the nature of the breach and local laws. Commonly, tenants are given anywhere from 3 to 10 days to resolve the issue. For example, if the violation is unpaid rent, the tenant might have 3 days to pay the overdue amount. For other issues, such as unauthorized pets, the time frame could be longer. The notice must specify the exact deadline to avoid confusion. To cure a violation means to correct the problem identified in the notice. For unpaid rent, curing means paying the overdue amount. For unauthorized pets, it could mean removing the pet from the property. The goal is to bring the tenant back into compliance with the lease terms, allowing them to remain in the property without further issue. If the tenant does not cure the violation within the specified time frame, they are required to quit or move out of the property. This is the final step before the landlord can begin formal eviction proceedings. The quit option is a last resort, intended to give tenants every opportunity to fix the problem before facing removal. Let's look at a common example: unpaid rent. If a tenant misses a rent payment, the landlord may issue a cure or quit notice. The notice will state the amount owed and give the tenant a set number of days to pay. If the tenant pays within the deadline, the matter is resolved. If not, the landlord can proceed with eviction. Another example involves unauthorized pets. If a tenant brings in a pet without permission, the landlord can issue a cure or quit notice. The tenant is then given a specific period to remove the pet. If the tenant complies, they can stay. If not, they may face eviction proceedings. Property damage is another situation where a cure or quit notice may be used. If a tenant causes significant damage, the landlord can issue a notice requiring repairs or payment for damages. The tenant must address the issue within the time frame or risk eviction. Noise violations can also result in a cure or quit notice. If a tenant repeatedly disturbs neighbors, the landlord may issue a notice demanding that the disruptive behavior stop. The tenant must comply within the specified period or face possible eviction. When a tenant receives a cure or quit notice, it's important to act quickly. The first step is to carefully read the notice and understand the violation. Tenants should gather any relevant documentation, such as payment receipts or correspondence, and communicate with the landlord if there are questions or disputes. Prompt action can often resolve the issue without further conflict. Tenants have rights when it comes to cure or quit notices. They are entitled to receive a clear, written notice and a reasonable opportunity to fix the problem. If a tenant believes the notice is unjustified, they may seek legal advice or mediation. Understanding these rights can help tenants protect themselves from wrongful eviction. Landlords also have responsibilities when issuing a cure or quit notice. They must follow local laws regarding notice format, delivery, and timeframes. The notice should be specific and not used as a tool for harassment or retaliation. Proper documentation and adherence to the law protect landlords from legal challenges. If a tenant fails to cure the violation or vacate the property, the landlord may begin formal eviction proceedings. This process usually involves filing a case in court and presenting evidence of the lease violation and the cure or quit notice. The court will then decide whether eviction is justified based on the facts presented. Both landlords and tenants should keep thorough documentation related to cure or quit notices. This includes copies of the notice, correspondence, payment records, and any evidence of compliance or non-compliance. Good record keeping can be crucial if the matter ends up in court. It's important to note that the rules regarding cure or quit notices can vary widely depending on local laws. Some areas may require longer notice periods or have additional tenant protections. Both landlords and tenants should familiarize themselves with the regulations in their specific location. In some cases, mediation can help resolve disputes related to cure or quit notices. Mediation involves a neutral third party who helps both sides communicate and find a solution. This process can be faster and less costly than going to court, and it often leads to mutually agreeable outcomes. The best way to avoid cure or quit notices is to prevent lease violations in the first place. Tenants should read their lease carefully, follow all rules, and communicate with their landlord if issues arise. Landlords should be clear about expectations and address problems early to avoid escalation. Effective communication is key when dealing with cure or quit notices. Tenants should respond promptly and respectfully to notices, while landlords should be clear and professional in their communication. Open dialogue can often resolve misunderstandings before they become major issues. A typical cure or quit notice might read, "You are in violation of your lease for unpaid rent in the amount of $500. You have 5 days from the date of this notice to pay the overdue rent or vacate the premises. Failure to comply may result in eviction proceedings." This format clearly states the problem, the solution, and the consequences. If a tenant disagrees with a cure or quit notice, they should communicate their concerns to the landlord in writing. Providing evidence, such as proof of payment or documentation of permission, can help resolve the dispute. If the issue remains unresolved, tenants may seek legal assistance or mediation. Ignoring a cure or quit notice can have serious consequences. If the tenant does not respond or cure the violation, the landlord can begin eviction proceedings. This can result in a court judgment, loss of housing, and a negative mark on the tenant's rental history, making it harder to rent in the future. The cure or quit notice is an early step in the eviction timeline. It serves as a formal warning and gives tenants a chance to fix problems before legal action is taken. Only if the tenant fails to comply does the process move forward to court and potential eviction. Cure or quit notices must be delivered according to local laws. Common methods include personal delivery, posting on the door, or sending by certified mail. Proper delivery ensures the tenant receives the notice and cannot claim ignorance of the violation. Tenants who receive a cure or quit notice and are unsure how to proceed can seek help from legal aid organizations. These groups offer free or low-cost advice and can help tenants understand their rights and options. Landlords can also consult legal professionals to ensure compliance with the law. Receiving a cure or quit notice does not automatically harm a tenant's rental history. However, if the issue leads to eviction, it can make it much harder to rent in the future. Tenants should take notices seriously and work to resolve issues promptly to protect their rental record. Cure or quit notices can strain landlord-tenant relationships, but they also provide a structured way to address problems. Open communication and mutual respect can help both parties navigate these situations and maintain a positive rental experience. A cure or quit notice is different from an immediate eviction notice. Immediate eviction is usually reserved for severe violations, such as illegal activity or threats to safety. Cure or quit notices are used for less serious breaches, giving tenants a chance to fix the problem first. If a tenant repeatedly violates the same lease term, landlords may issue multiple cure or quit notices. In some cases, repeated violations can lead to eviction even if each individual issue is cured, as it shows a pattern of non-compliance. Cure or quit notices are not just for unpaid rent. They can also address non-monetary breaches, such as unauthorized occupants, illegal activities, or failure to maintain the property. The process remains the same: fix the issue or vacate. Some lease violations involve health and safety concerns, such as hoarding or creating fire hazards. In these cases, cure or quit notices are especially important as they help ensure the property remains safe for all residents. A cure or quit notice is not used for lease expiration. When a lease ends, landlords must follow different procedures for non-renewal or termination. Cure or quit notices are specifically for violations during the lease term. Unauthorized subletting is another common reason for a cure or quit notice. If a tenant rents out the property without permission, the landlord can demand that the sublet arrangement end or the tenant vacate the premises. Making unauthorized alterations to the property, such as painting walls or installing fixtures, can also trigger a cure or quit notice. Tenants are usually required to restore the property to its original condition or obtain landlord approval for changes. Using a residential property for business purposes without permission is another violation that can result in a cure or quit notice. Landlords may require tenants to stop the business activity or move out if the lease prohibits such use. Engaging in illegal activity on the property is a serious violation. While some jurisdictions allow immediate eviction, others require a cure or quit notice. The notice demands that the illegal activity stop immediately or the tenant must vacate. Allowing people to live in the property without landlord approval is a violation that can lead to a cure or quit notice. The tenant must remove unauthorized occupants or risk eviction. Tenants are usually required to maintain the property in good condition. Failure to do so, such as neglecting yard work or allowing trash to accumulate, can result in a cure or quit notice. The tenant must correct the issue to avoid further action. Smoking in a non-smoking property is a lease violation that can trigger a cure or quit notice. The tenant must stop smoking on the premises or risk eviction, especially if the lease clearly prohibits smoking. Repeated parking violations, such as using unauthorized spaces or blocking driveways, can also result in a cure or quit notice. The tenant must comply with parking rules or face possible eviction. Violating pet policies, such as exceeding the allowed number of pets or keeping prohibited breeds, can lead to a cure or quit notice. The tenant must comply with the pet policy or risk eviction. Tampering with utilities, such as electricity or water meters, is a serious violation. A cure or quit notice will demand that the tampering stop and any damage be repaired, or the tenant must vacate. In summary, a cure or quit notice is a formal tool used by landlords to address lease violations. It gives tenants a chance to fix problems before facing eviction. Understanding the process, knowing your rights and responsibilities, and maintaining open communication can help both landlords and tenants navigate these situations successfully. Always check local laws for specific requirements and seek professional advice if needed.